Nikki Elledge Brown is a professional word nerd, military spouse, former park ranger, college professor, and mom of 3, known online for her quirky yet practical teaching style and honest reflections on the realities of parenthood and entrepreneurship. In 2013, she launched a highly profitable business helping service-based business owners communicate with clarity and confidence through her online course, A Course About Copy. And in 2017, she launched the Naptime Empires podcast to help fellow business moms feel less alone in the journey, shifting out of overwhelm and hiding in the bathroom into an inspired yet imperfect action. She's been featured on NBC News, military.com, several top-rated business podcasts, including a top 10 episode on Entrepreneur on Fire and a reality TV episode on Discovery Channel that led to a surprise cameo on OINTB. On top of all that, Nikki Elledge Brown is one of my best friends. We go on trips together as part of the infamous squad. And when we talk and sit down, we always have these really fun wordplay conversations. And she's going to talk about how she's followed what she calls her divine breadcrumbs to help her make decisions and help her take a breath in between those decisions so that she doesn't get overwhelmed. She also talks about how to talk in word pictures. And she uses a casserole as the metaphor to help us learn how to speak in such a delightful and impactful way. So here's Nikki. Have a good time with her. Hi, Nikki Elledge Brown.
Hi, Jenny.
I'm so excited you're here.
Me too.
You're like one of my favorite people in the world.
Same.
And
Don't make me cry.
Yeah, I'm biased, like Mega. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Femmefluence. And I define Femmefluence as basically your superpower. And if I asked you what your Femmefluence is, what would you say to that?
I know. I knew you were going to ask, and I meant to text you last week to say, what would you say my Femmefluence is? But I'm going to go with playing with language in such a way that it disarms people and creates opportunities for them to be who they are, create what they genuinely want to create. Like instant connection with people by the way that I play with words.
I mean, I got to tell you guys, I could take Nikki's texts and Voxers to me and turn them into a book of delight. Like that's how, because anytime I have a problem or we're noodling around something or I'm looking for input or feedback, not only does Nikki give that clear advice, but she's so fun with the way she does it. Her wordplay and her metaphors, they're like next level. So I just want to say, if you haven't talked to Nikki, be delighted in that conversation. So
I felt kind of like a sideshow yesterday. Like I don't realize it because at home in everyday life, we're just talking about like diaper change and carpool and whatever. But yesterday, seeing people's faces when I was talking, I was like, is this weird? Like I had an out-of-body experience because they're like, did the words just fall out of your mouth like that? And I'm like,
that's how she talks.
It made me self-conscious actually
yesterday. No, it's awesome.
Like,
it's how she talks. That itself could be a reality show. Okay, so when is the earliest memory of when you knew that was your Femmefluence?
Consciously, I would say that 10 years ago, exactly, it's right before I started my business, and that's why I actually started my business. There had been many breadcrumbs along the way and little word nerd stories along the path. If you were to look backwards, right, the Steve Jobs connecting the dots, looking backwards, I call them divine breadcrumbs. But when I woke up before my son, I made a commitment at the very beginning of 2013, and it only lasted about 6 weeks, but it was all I needed to change my life, apparently, because I started to notice, like, okay, the feedback I was getting from family and friends, or even professors when I was getting my master's, and they were like, keep going, get the doctorate, we need you in academia. And I'm like, I would only do that so I could sell out and write the pop culture book to go and translate your research. You know, I don't want to do all that. But that's when I started to notice, again, like the reactions and then the feedback from people. Like, oh, this isn't necessarily normal. And so it's a gift that I can share, and how am I going to share it, you know? So...
Did your parents never told you? Like, how did you talk to your parents growing up?
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we and our friend Janet, like, we were talking about it last night. I'm like, because she said that. She's like, when did this start? Because I was telling her how awkward I almost felt yesterday talking to people. And they're like, you know, like a little laugh track or something. And I'm like, I'm not trying to entertain, but it's how my mind thinks in word pictures. You know?
Okay. I love that, word pictures.
Yeah.
Yes.
And mixed metaphors like a casserole. It's not like it's just one metaphor. I'll just go like 3 layers deep with it. I don't know. I don't remember this aspect, or at least it wasn't as highlighted to me until I started my business and started interacting with a whole lot more people.
They're just like, that's Nikki. That's how Nikki talks.
Yeah.
And that's how she describes things. And that's how she communicates and helps us understand her world. And
Yeah.
I just imagine if you were my child, little Nikki, how like I would just be listening to you all day because you could talk me into anything with this word nerdery. I don't know.
I did love words. I literally would be like, ask me how to spell something. Anything. So like spelling was, so it was like graduation of like, I want to learn how to spell the words. I want to know what the words mean. And then graduated to piecing them together.
Love. Okay. So how do you create joy, fun, happiness, creativity inside of your life and or business?
Well, I could cry. Because you're a really big part of that. Like, so my kids are a huge part of it because that's their nature, right? Before it's been like squeezed out of them in the traditional school system or whatever. So naturally being a mom, obviously you have these little guides and reminders and reflectors of curiosity and resilience and play. How many times a day mommy's like, or Noe, my little one who's 2. Mommy, play with me. Or Mama, look. Like maybe, I think I might write a children's book one day called Mama Look,
I love that.
Because it's that tug
you heard
on
it here
our hearts.
first. I just want to say that.
Mama Look, first mention on the internet. Just because the tug also of like, no, we're not always going to be, like, I'm here with you right now. I can't see what they're doing. I know they're living their best lives and whatever. So kids, but then also truly, like we just last night, we're playing grown up dress up and we did costume changes, I'm like, that is life-giving and it's just what I need, like to go back into my cul-de-sac and ground in my everyday life in yoga pants. Like I don't get dressed up, but I do when we play, and that to me is such a beautiful thing. So really it's a great question for you to be asking.
Well, I just want to say that first of all, I don't know. We were together yesterday and people were like, her hair, it's so amazing. And Nikki has this bananas beautiful, like curly reddish hair that you're the only person I know whose hair is that wild and looks good. Like whether it's you've woken up or it's up in your little.
It's because, when we're hanging out, we're taking pictures. And so I'm thinking about it more. But you've seen me at home regular too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, she looks the same. I'm just saying. We're going to figure that out.
We have a mutual inspiration study with hair because I'm always like, it's like a mermaid. How's it like that? And how do you only have like one silver? I'm like, it's cinnamon sugar. It's happening.
Okay. So what's your advice for women who want to be rich, recognized, and respected on their terms, as you would say? What is the first step you'd advise them to do when approaching wanting that for their own lives?
Exactly what I just did with a deep breath so that you can actually tune in and hear yourself think about why. Because my visions of what I thought I wanted and what rich and recognized and blah, blah, blah meant to me 10 years ago has transformed in many ways. And I'm like, it felt at the time like that was genuinely what I wanted. Like I said, with the Today Show, grad school, but I'm like, no, now I really don't care about any of that. Like it's quality of life and creative expression and all of that, but I don't care necessarily how many Instagram followers I have or whatever. Whereas once upon a time, it was like, this is what I need in order to be successful, but not necessarily to feel successful. So it would be the deep breath and actually taking time to hear yourself think, so that you can get clear on why. Because whenever we're really clear on why and what truly matters to us and our actual values, then I feel like following through on that inspiration, all the rest becomes inevitable in the forms that would actually matter to us.
Well, you're one of the people that I love talking to about seasons, changes, and how you just said 10 years ago, what you wanted or thought you wanted looks definitely so much different than it is today. I think women don't give themselves permission to have those seasons, those shifts, those changes, and they regret a lot. They go, oh, I should have, 10 years ago, I'm not the person I thought I was going to be 10 years from now. Can you reflect upon that? Like, what are ways that women specifically can give themselves permission? You talk about the permission slips. That's one of your things. How do we give ourselves permission slips? What's a couple like concrete ways that we can give that to ourselves to like redefine what we want to do next, or what we're doing now?
I mean, friendship and being in conversation with other people is huge because it normalizes it. Like even just yesterday with your birthday party, and I was sharing about the podcast that I created years ago, which I love. I mean, I love crisp audio. Like it's a beautiful sensory experience, but also my current podcast, On Her Terms, it's intentionally lo-fi, designed not default or defective, to have the little imperfections in there. And so me sharing that, then I had so many actual real life humans. It was so cool to have instant feedback of people being like, I didn't even know. Like that, literally, I Voxer my friends all day long. I never even thought about recording a podcast with Voxer and whatever. I'm literally like, because I said, you're a prolific content creator. You're just not putting it out there. Yeah. You're keeping it in your pocket. So anyway, so being in conversation and then having those light bulb moments go off with other people, I mean, the more we can share that, then the more opportunities we have to reflect and be like, I didn't even know that was on the menu.
I was
style.
just talking to Pamela Slim, who's also going to be on this special series of her Femmefluence. And we were talking about, we had this juicy conversation while I was in the makeup chair getting my makeup on about a lot of different things, business, life stuff, kids, etc. And we're like, gosh, why didn't we hit record while we're like just standing here? And that's going to be something I also take away from what you just said and that conversation with Pam is like, it's okay to voice memo yourself. You got some ideas,
Correct.
Throw it into the voice memo and be brave enough to possibly, if you think it could help someone else, publish it in some kind of way, right?
I literally just did that because I'm creating like I'm thinking I'll just call it a course about creativity as a nod to my A Course About Copy back in the day.
Already.
Because that's what I would love to talk about. So I was recording right before I got in the shower the other night, and I had already turned on the water. Like the water was running, and I love the planet. I'm not trying to waste any water. And then I was like, I got to record these ideas for myself later so that I can tell my clients, like, here's the game plan. Here's what we're going to do. And then I ended up sending it to them. I was literally shower on, about to step in. And I was like, bop, boop, beep, boop. And then after I said it, I realized and now I'm actually talking to them. I started it to just record it for myself. And then I'm ending with a call to action to be like, make sure you message me if you have questions.
Again, another thing, I hope you guys are catching that, like when you're feeling motivated, inspired.
Yeah.
Hit the record button.
Let it move.
Let it move forward. Let it be. I think it's so perfect to be that imperfect. I always say that perfect is not even a real word. We just had to create a word to make ourselves feel bad or something. Because really, life is about imperfect action, as you talk about. And by the way, we talk about this all the time as friends, is we have the same insecurities, hangups, judge ourselves, all the things, right? And I think that's why we especially need friendship and people to dialogue with, because so that they can be our reflector, not just to say, of course you're awesome, because we definitely want those things, but also to have input and feedback that is honest, true, loving, and pushes us and nudges us forward gently. And you're one of those people to me, so I'm so happy you're in my life too.
Same.
Yeah. So talk about things that you've had to unlearn to get to this place of where you are now.
I mean, that's a big part, I guess, of unlearning and then relearning. But really, to me, again, with the words, I'm all about redefining it. And like with On Her Terms, it's the wordplay of like in her words as well, in her terms. And what love feels like to me or what success looks like to me is different than what it looks like for you. And so feeling like we needed to subscribe to any external model or template is what I am still unlearning. And I'm sharing it, which is, it's just cool. It almost feels like magic or like binaural beats or something, or where there's like the subliminal messaging, truly with the podcast thing specifically as an example, like me recording it that way, knowing, oh my gosh, as soon as I recorded it, I'm like, does that even make any sense? Is that even going to resonate? I don't know, but I better upload it before I talk myself out of it. Knowing that there is a real life human on the other side, at least one, always, who's like, I heard it today. I'll have like past clients coming into my messages and be like, yep, exactly. And I'm like, right. It's, even though it benefits other people, I know just what we were saying. It's like, if I let it move through, it benefits me. It actually hurts me not to be sharing it in real time. Like it's this backlog. It can like literally weigh you down. I mean, depression, like intense style. So anyway, I forgot even what the original
No, but
question
I was going to I love where I think this is going
speaking
to.
of imperfection.
is that the vehicle for you that I know you love a lot is audio, you know, podcasts, because first of all, does she not have like a delightful voice? I could listen to you all day long.
Thank you.
And number two, that's the thing, is like whatever your vehicle is, just let it move through the vehicle. Because I think we get hung up in, should I do a podcast? Should I do a YouTube show? Should I do Reels? Should I do TikTok? Should I learn all the things? And that's also an excuse for where we're trying to be overly strategic instead of allowing our thoughts to help one person.
Yes, the unlearning. It's exactly that. That has to be way. Because even when I created the first podcast, Naptime Empires, I created a doc for my clients at the time who were thinking about creating podcasts. I'm like, it doesn't have to be this big honking deal with all of these things and all of the pre-launch content, and it's just your whole situation. I'm like, I'll just put the audios out there quietly into the iTunes night, and then they'll be there, and I will always be able to point people back to it, even if 2 years later I wanted to have a big launch.
Yeah.
But at least now they're here and they exist.
Yes, that whole pent-up thing that people do with launches, and I love launches. I'm not anti-launch.
It's very fun. I miss it. I'm actually craving one now. Like
I'm getting excited. Don't turn me on right now.
The anticipation and the tease. Like I do. There's a lot to be said for it.
Yeah.
But not if it's keeping you from doing it at all. And then the other thing I was going to say, because I know you love sports and things, but the idea of starting with your path of least resistance. So wherever is truly most natural for you. Again, if you love Voxer your friends, then naturally it's audio, or could be audio. But I think of it like shoot your shot in your zone, like whatever is the easiest. And then this is the follow through. So it's like once I've recorded it in my Voxer podcast and then I upload it, then I'm like Sparky, and I'll want to share it on Instagram, and I'll want to be able to email it, and then might as well copy paste that over to Facebook or whatever. So it's like shoot the shot, and then the follow through is the syndication of all your other channels that you can reach whenever you want to. But start with whatever feels most natural. Or I think of like a figure skater who's spinning like this, and it's like, what's the thing that's truly just like true in your center, so that it doesn't throw you off and then you lose all your momentum there.
Did you see how she did that, folks? So she talked about sports, which she knows is a love language for me. So then I can lean in and understand it a little bit more. But that is one of your Femmefluences, is you're so good at choosing the right metaphors for the person that you're speaking to. Just exquisite. Okay. Tell us about what you're up to next. Like what are you up to next, and what are you excited about?
So now that my youngest, so my kids right now, as we're recording, are 11, 7, and 2. And my little one kind of started a 2-day-a-week school, but she probably went maybe half the time because she had colds and all kinds of health situations. And it was beautifully enlightening and clarifying for me, because it helped me see, what do I actually want, have time, capacity, all that for. And so what I feel most inspired by right now is creating a candy shop of audio workshops and on-demand evergreen assets, because we were in the hospital with her, in December, and I'm literally laying there in the hospital with her. She had complications from RSV, as you know, and I'm like, I love that I still have my course. It's still online. People still buy it, which just blows my mind. Not because it's a great course, but I'm like 9 years later, it's still serving people. But I want to create more of that audio candy shop, because again, my ideal in my pocket, I know I can help you. I have overthought all of those thoughts already. Bring me your excuses. And like my people love the audio because they appreciate beautiful video like this. But we're listening to it. It's like the YouTube video, but it's in the cup holder. We're not looking, we're safely driving, So creating the audio and then supporting people through their creative process. So the tagline of what I'm, again, currently working name, A Course About Creativity, is move past your excuses, collab with your muses, and finally bring your best ideas to life. It's that cul-de-sac. It's that cul-de-sac creativity, because I'm like, I want to help them create and move through all those excuses amidst cooties and carpool. Like, what can you actually create? Because I realized what I unlearned. It's like, it's not that I love business for business's sake, or I would have lots of businesses.
Right.
I love business as a vehicle for communication, like connection, obviously, because I wouldn't have met you and so many amazing of my best friends without the business. So like connection and community, contribution and creative expression. I mean, I love making money. It's so cool. It blows my mind what's possible for us now that I know this world exists, And then just the creative expression piece. Like I said, being able to share what I'm learning. It's even part of my human design and my chart as well, confirmed yesterday by KJ. That for me, it's about that internal domicile. Like what are my lessons that I'm learning at home? And there are many, because I'm rarely without an earbud learning, but also my real life humans, and then sharing it in whatever way, sharing my field notes. And that's what I see, which goes back to my National Park Service days and tour guide days and all of those divine breadcrumbs of just guiding people. It's not like I have it all figured out, but I do have engaging field notes to share. They're organized with fun doodles. So people might want to pass that along.
Well, I love it because we've been talking a lot about how you are so inspirational, and personal development is something we both have in common. We can be a little bit of personal development junkies, but we think in a self-aware, healthy way. At least that's what we think.
I don't know.
We don't know. But I love it because now that intersection of your skill, like this God-given skill that you have to play with words and put them together for people to not just be delighted, but understand them very clearly, and then get the confidence to do the same in their own way.
Yes.
And then you add in now like these inspiring nuggets that help people move forward.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like so excited about this.
There's going to be a lo-fi podcast baby boom based on the conversations I had yesterday. Like literally several, probably at least 8 to 10 people came up to me and were like, oh my God, okay, I can do this.
Oh my
I'm going to do this.
Maybe we should put
and
a little challenge out there in a beautiful way. Like, just like in a fun way. Like, no prize unless you want one, because I'm all about the prizes.
Yeah.
But that would be fun to see them create that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so it might be a whole spin-off thing that I do at some point, because it's like, what's the bare minimum that you can do?
Ooh, I like the bare mini.
And even if it
that's
only...
that's a good name.
Yeah.
Bare mini.
Yeah, that's the bare mini. And it's about lowering the bar, but not so that everything sucks. I mean, lower the bar just long enough so you can get a grip and you're not beating yourself over the head with it.
Yes.
And then raise it.
Yeah.
But when we're like, oh, unless I can do a video with this beautiful set and production and everything, then my face isn't worthy of being on the internet. Not true.
Yes.
You're actually walking around the planet, talking and communicating to people.
Yeah.
You're talking to your best friends, and they're finding value in what you're sharing from exactly who and how you are right now.
I mean, Nikki, when you tell me stuff, like I re-listened to the Voxer you sent me 2 years ago. Like, she's done that. And I'm like, you did? Like, you're actually re-listening to that thing? And
Jen Kim's gems. Scoop them up. Save them for later.
I do. But I love that, because even that, I don't think we do enough to re-inspire, get that other thing we need to hear in a moment, not just from somebody else, like a friend, but yourself, like listening to yourself.
I love listening to my own podcast. That's why I record it, and I say it when it's funny when I've recorded some, I'm literally talking to people. I'm like, tell me later, as if it really is a Voxer message to my one person. Pro tip, right? Because you do want to speak to just one, not like all you guys out there, whatever. But I love listening to my own podcast. I'm only recording it if I think it's worthy for me to listen back to one of these days. And so it's like note to self, and literally in the Voxer channel, it's my notes. That's where I'm recording these podcasts.
I love that. Oh, I love that. Okay. So we do this thing called the Femmefluence Fire Round. Okay. So, favorite book?
Okay. I love that you asked this, because I literally binge listened to a book on the plane, and I really, truly loved it. And actually, she was speaking to seasons in such a beautiful way that I was trying not to ugly cry on the airplane. Like, it was so beautiful the way she described the essence of the seasons. And it's called The Lazy Genius Way.
Fun.
Like Kendra Achita. And it was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite city, state, country that you've ever visited?
I mean, I gotta go with an island called Oahu.
Hey,
birthplace
baby.
of the Gen Chem.
Yes, and where we met, and we were neighbors. Like, we were 5 miles away from each other for years. And then we met on the internet. And then she had her second miracle baby, Deacon, and took some time off. And then when she reached out to me, Nikki, and said, I'm ready to mingle. I'm ready to have friends.
We went on a date. I wore a fragile necklace no baby could tear away.
Yes.
It was very exciting.
That was the bud of our relationship. It was amazing. On Oahu. So,
yes.
Nike or Adidas?
I'm going with Nike, but not for cool, understanding the brand deeply, just because Nicole comes from Nike, victory of the people, whatever. That's all.
Yes.
That's
well,
it.
that makes sense. I forgot.
Victory.
Hello.
Yeah. Victory.
Okay. Someone you'd like to be mentored by or meet, living or not?
I don't have like a great deep answer for this one, but because I loved her book so much and resonated with so much, like one of the phrases I was doodling in the margin as I was listening was she was talking about her mail collection. This is the author, Kendra, of Lazy Genius. And the way that she even just played with words, and she was talking about the Leaning Tower of Pizza Hut coupons, like for the mail section. I was like, I feel like we should know each other. So in that kind of way.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that.
But I will also shout out to like, I just genuinely love every opportunity that I get to be in your physical presence, but also when we were Zooming and phone walking and talking, because you're just one of my favorite people to be around, and usually you have your Jen Kim
I do. I didn't wear them
storytelling.
because they make too much noise on the video, but I am.
Yeah.
I love that. One word that sums up who you are right now.
Let's go with creative.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's tell the people, where do they can find you? Where can like, you have these podcasts, you have these things coming up. Tell everyone where you like to hang out and communicate with others.
Right. Okay, so home base is NikkiElledgeBrown.com. The current most active expression and communication way to connect is through On Her Terms, the podcast, which you can go to onherterms.com or search it up. A Course About Copy is still alive and kicking at acourseaboutcopy.com, and Naptime. It's like I have all my babies, you know? And then Naptime Empires is also in your favorite podcast player, and naptimeempires.com/guide is actually a fun, like the only really cool email sequence, welcome, nurture. It's like a fun adventure, subscriber experience, I call it, is at naptimeempires.com/guide.
Love.
Yeah.
Don't you guys love Nikki? Everybody needs to know one of my best friends in the world and one of the smartest, most loving, most values-driven human that I've ever known.
I love you.
I love
Thank
you.
you.